Good morning. You're watching Much Ado About Something, and I'm Donna. Well, we're out here in the backyard today. Yesterday was Memorial Day. Donald had an extra day off from work and we got a little bit done. I want to show you the vegetable garden. I wanted to take you step by step and show you what all we did, but it was so hectic yesterday and we were trying to get so much done in a period of a little bit of time that I didn't have really time to pick up the camera and explain to you. Now this little vegetable plot that we started here, this year we're doing the no-dig method. Now normally we till our gardens. Last year our garden was where the chicken pen is at, and this year we've made it a little bigger and it's out here in this area. The first thing Donald did was take marking paint and marked out the shape of the garden. As you can see, it's not perfectly rectangular. He angled it here so that the kids could get to their play area. They could get to their playhouse, and they love to play here under these trees, so it's like their little cubby and clubhouse. So he angled it right here so that there was plenty of room for us to walk. He marked it with marking paint, the shape of the garden, and then he took a shovel and skimmed off a lot of this clover and grass that was growing here. And then he laid down this weed cloth. We wanted to use cardboard, but we simply did not have enough cardboard to do this size garden. This is the first time the garden's been put out here in this area, and so it took a tremendous amount of work. Now, as you can see, we've got wood chips, composted wood chips that we put down over the weed cloth. This tree that we had cut down about 4 years ago, we had it stacked over here in a little wood pile. We burned some of it and we let the rest decompose so that we could put it in our garden area. So we have decomposed wood chips down here from a tree that we had cut down about 4 years ago. None of these wood chips are green, so they're excellent to go ahead and put down for this type of garden because there's not any green composting that'll take the nitrogen from our soil. It's ready to be used. So he laid down that layer of composted wood chips that we had, and then we were just putting out a load of soil and compost mix that we have over here in the corner. We're using our compost here. And so we've got it wheelbarrowed. We've been wheelbarrowing it from the corner garden over here to the new vegetable garden plot. He did take some wood and shore it up here on the side where it's on a slope. You know, our garden slopes up. Our yard slopes up as you walk in, and he needed to put wood there so that our garden would not wash away, so it wouldn't wash downhill. So he put wood on this side. Here's the little planting patch. We managed not to destroy it as we were fixing the vegetable garden. That was an important thing to me. I love plantain and I use it a lot. I know a lot of people call it plantain, but we always called it plantain growing up, and so that's what I call it today. I am tickled with this vegetable garden, but it took all day yesterday. He also put the fence around it yesterday to keep the dog out of it, to keep the kids out of it. I mean, if our grandkids come out and saw this big pile of dirt, they would be like, woohoo! They'd be grabbing their little tools and their toys, and they would have been in there playing in it. So we had to fence it off, not because we have any deer or predators, but just to define our garden area and separate it. I am very pleased with how it's turning out. There's still work to be done. Hopefully I'll finish that this week. I've got to get these vegetables planted. I mean, all of our bedding plants, they're just getting too big for these containers. We've got to get them in the ground. We've got our cucumbers and our zucchini. The zucchinis had plenty of water, plenty of rain, but it just needs more nutrients than those little these little beds can provide for them anymore. So I've got to get all these bedding plants that I started from seed in the ground. Here are the tomatoes and the pumpkins I rescued from the compost pile, all needing to be planted. I'm so excited to try the no-dig, no-till method and to plant here and see how that works for us. Now I wanted to take you around and show you a little bit in the garden. Here's the wheelbarrow that we planted. There is something just munching away on these leaves. But it's got a pretty good start. I just need to make sure I keep it watered. It's getting really hot. Now we'll walk out here and check the front gardens. Well, the queen has arrived. There's that beautiful Queen Anne's lace. Very pretty. It's pretty tall. It's probably at least 4 feet tall. Got plenty of blooms on it. I'm excited to see that in the garden. This is looking okay. We've got a rabbit nibbling going on here. This died. That blue plant that I put here, it did not make it. It dried completely up. Got all this little mess here where that rabbit's just hopped around and pulled the mulch out. Oh, got some beautiful blanket flowers blooming. That's busted out. It looks good. I don't see any pests nibbling on that. That's good. Daylilies look like they're getting ready to bloom. We got one little Queen Anne's lace over here. Some echinacea blooming here. If I can remember, I think that's the red echinacea. So when it opens up really good, I'm looking forward to seeing that. The Chloresy root is blooming. A few daisies over here in this garden are blooming. But there's an echinacea hiding. It's got a lot of blooms on that plant. Hollyhock seeds are still making. Here's an echinacea that's opening up. That coleus is doing well there. It's looking pretty. The clematis is still blooming. This one up here on this trail has finally opened up. Got some growing down here along the ground. This little patch of daisies has opened up, and these are drying back. The money tree is still drying. See, it's getting its little seed pods, and these are dry. I think I'm going to spread some of them out. They do well in the garden. We'll save some of those seeds and spread them out. This clematis here is finished blooming over here for right now. It may put out some more blooms. But these are the fuzzy seed pods that come after the flowers faded away. I think they're pretty. They're very interesting. This garden is filling in nicely. Now I do have zinnias to plant in this garden. And so I'll have to do that here coming up, is get those zinnias planted so that they'll bloom later, and they'll bloom for, you know, well into the summer. Those zinnias, they bloom well into the summer. My hanging basket, it got so much rain that my little hook cannot hold it. We've got one little rosebud over here on this little rose bush. It's not a climbing rose, it's just a single rose bush. That'll be pretty. We'll watch that and watch it open. This clematis has finished blooming, and it's got its little spikes on it. Its little seed pods. They'll get real feathery and fluffy looking. It was really dry yesterday, and I wasn't able to get out here and water as much as it's been raining lately. And so I think some things might have dried out just a little bit out here in the front gardens. But in general, they're looking pretty good. I love to see the pops of orange come out in the milkweed there, the butterfly weed, or pleurisy root as some people call it, and the daylilies. And then I have an orange zinnia plant that I plant also. Well, that's about the tour of our garden today. That's what's happening and going on with it. Nothing new planted yet. Thank you for joining me, and like always, until next time.